Hey team, hope everyone's having a fantastic day, and I want to tackle a subject that I feel is really big that not a lot of people are really talking about, and maybe offer some awareness solutions, and perhaps even a solution itself if any of this resonates with you. So we're seeing more and more addictive behaviors as far as food goes, particularly alcohol, but food and alcohol. And I want to give two really good takeaways of what you can do, or maybe share this with someone that they can do to really try to increase their awareness and perhaps even kick this habit loop. So if you look at what I mean by the habit loop, is you have your cue, your routine, and then your reward. So think of that as a triangle. The habit loop is activated by a trigger. So a trigger activates the loop. So some triggers or cues would be time of day, location, so where you're at, people, so other people that are around you, your general state or mood, and then sound. So if you think of this of sound as one, a good analogy is if you own a pet or a dog and you walk in the door at 6 o'clock, so the time cues that, but it's actually the dog hears you, the sound, and it automatically triggers that habit loop. And what happens is the dog runs to you. That's the routine. So the dog running to you is its routine. So it hears the cue, and now it's doing its routine. And then the reward is the love that you give back for that dog, the love that you give back to your dog. Okay, so if you look at, okay, well, what is our routine? So we're cued, and we're going to curtail this to food. The cue happens. Maybe it's a stressful week or whatnot, and the cue is time at 6 o'clock. The bell rings on a Friday night at 6 o'clock. And the routine is we go and we have drinks with the gals or with the guys. And then, okay, well, what is the reward? The reward is generally that escape that situation has. Okay, so for example, we get to the bar, we have our drinks, but the reward is, we're talking to Bill and we're kind of venting, or maybe we're not even venting. Maybe we're just talking about the Colts game or whatever. We're out in our own little world without any other worries. We're just there with the guys or we're there with the gals, just kind of idea sharing and having a good time. That is the reward. Now, it's very important that we understand that the body is going to trigger this habit loop in a positive or negative stress-related symptom. So, for example, let's say that you're struggling with alcohol right now. And let's just say, or alcohol or really any other food. And let's say that you get news that a loved one has cancer. Horrible news. So you're gonna go, that's gonna cue something. Okay, that stress is you're gonna run through a cue. So your stress is an all-time high, and then you're gonna have a cue. All right, we're going to follow the routine. The routine, if your cue is leading you towards food or leading you towards drink, and then as a response, the reward is for getting away from that bad news. Kind of like a pelican putting its head in the sand, just escaping. So a lot of times this cue response reward or the cue routine reward, the reward is just an escape. It's just, I don't want to deal with it, get away from it, whether it's, financial ruin, fight with the wife, fight with the husband, dad just got cancer, whatever it might be. Now, let's go the opposite side as far as that's a huge stressor, finding out that a loved one has cancer. Now, let's say you get a call right now, okay? And the call is, hey, your loved one is in remission. He or she's beat the cancer. You're gonna go through that same thing. You're elated, your emotional state, you're so happy. Call the girls, hey, we're breaking up. What? A bottle of champagne. Or, hey, let's go meet and celebrate. What are we gonna celebrate with? Food. So that routine with food or alcohol stays right there. But here, now you wanna share. Now you're happy, and there isn't necessarily escape. There's just a feeling of sharing with that group. So the reward is having that group around you. So see that the stress, whether it's positive or negative, knocked you into the same cue response reward, cue routine reward loop either way. But you notice the routine both times, whether it was positive stress or negative stress, revolved around food and or alcohol. All right, so that's a very, very key concept. So the first thing that we want to do in overcoming this and breaking this loop is we want to understand that the reward isn't the food, isn't the alcohol. That's just our routine that gets us to the reward. That's our vehicle that we're driving in or getting in that gets us to the reward of either forgetting, putting our head in the sand and just filtering everything else out, and just kind of talking to our, a friendly ear with our buds or with our gals. Or it gets us into that celebratory mood, like, hey, yeah, I'm so happy, my dad beat cancer, all right? But if we can change that vehicle and because the cue isn't gonna go away, the reward is what it is, and that's what we really are seeking. The dog's routine to run to you, that doesn't want to run. It just wants that reward, and it wants to get to that reward as quickly as possible. But we're the same way. We want to get to that reward of either forgetting and filtering our problems out or celebrating as quickly as possible. So we want to just change the routine. So one thing that I do that helps a lot is when I've had some stress come up. Sometimes the way I react to stress, and if I want to forget, I just want to get away, I'll put my headphones in. I got these gigantic DJ headphones, and my routine, as opposed to going to food or alcohol, my routine would be to put the headphones on, get in my own world, and go work out. And that's why, a lot of people are like, man, you kind of are a jerk when you're working out with those headphones on. No, man, I am there. That's my therapy. I'm there to forget. I am there to get away for an hour, and then I feel totally alleviated after. I feel great, and that's the reward. The reward is, cool, I got to get away from this stress for a little bit, okay? So change the routine that gives you the same reward, all right? Really, really key concept. So if your routine is alcohol or food, keep trying different routines that offer the same reward. So another routine that I could do is, maybe a massage. It's relaxing, but it's all alone. It's you and the massage therapist, quiet, and it gives you an hour of escape, okay? Or if it's something that I want to celebrate with, instead of being like, hey, let's all meet up at the bar, or let's all meet up at the pizzeria, and let's celebrate, I'm so happy, just got promoted, or whatnot. Instead, I could be like, hey, I could change the routine and say, hey, let's all go meet up at Climb Time, or do something around activity, or let's go meet up at the billiards place and play some pool or whatnot. So depending on what my routine changes to, if it offers the same reward, I'm gonna be good. And that's what AA does, Alcoholics Anonymous, is they just change the routine of, in this case, it's escape. Generate higher stress, we're just looking for an escape. That's all we're looking for. The alcohol and the food doesn't offer the escape. It's just a vehicle that gets us to the escape. So really, really important to understand that. So what AA does is whenever you feel like taking a drink or whatnot, you'll call your sponsor. Talk for 20 minutes. I don't know what they talk about, but it's probably not about like, okay, put the bottle down. It's not like that. It's just, they just talk. They just talk through it. Hey, how's the wife going? Oh man, my boss, he suspended me, it's baloney. And they just blow off the steam. And then after that 10, 15 minute conversation, they don't feel like the drink anymore. Why? Because they got that 20 minutes of escape, which was the true reward. That's all they wanted. You see what I'm saying? So really, really important. And we're all gonna have different routines that give us the same escape. Okay, so it might be reading, it might be going for a walk, it might be like with instead of alcohol, maybe it's a coffee, or something like that. And that coffee kind of gets you pepped up, you go on a walk, and then you come back and you really don't want the food anymore. Okay? So there's a lot of different ways that you can change your routine to offer the same reward. So key concept there. The second way, so that's the first tip that I have in overcoming emotional eating, is change the routine. And be honest with yourself of what the reward is really at. Is food your escape, or is food your celebration? Like for me, food isn't an escape. Alcohol is not an escape. It's a celebration. I was literally texting people today, hey, we're going out. I'm going to get my 250 bourbon. Come out, celebrate with me. So for me, my food is a celebratory, or the alcohol is a celebratory thing. And here's the thing, it's not a bad thing. It's not bad if you use food to celebrate, if you use alcohol to celebrate, but it becomes bad when it's overcoming your life. And that's the difference between using it to celebrate as a food that were given to us, and in addictions. Okay, so definitely a differentiation between the two. So it is definitely not bad if you celebrate and toast a promotion with wine or champagne or whatever. Or if you say, hey, you know what, tonight we're going on out to grab that steak and cookie dessert to celebrate this promotion. That's perfectly fine to do that, unless it starts to become addictive and starts to get into the way of life. So important differentiator there. All right, so what the second way is, and they did a study on Vietnam veterans who were addicted to heroin. Now that's the most addictive, or one of the most addictive substances on earth, heroin, the hard stuff. So what they started to do heroin for was, I mean, Vietnam was deplorable. I mean, they're seeing like their friends getting cut into pieces, right to the left of it. It was just a deplorable situation for all soldiers. So they would go to heroin as their routine to forget. The reward is they just want to forget about the day. You know, oh my gosh, they saw these deplorable things. And what they found, so this is the most addictive substance that maybe in the world. What they found when they came home back to America is 70% kicked the addiction with zero treatment. 70% of the soldiers, just cold turkey, good to go. What? Wow, that is crazy. So what happened there is their triggers, what triggered the habit loop or their cues were changed. So particularly their location or their environment was changed. The people that they were around was changed, and the state was changed. So those three things, those three triggers were completely eliminated. So they just didn't have the need for the escape. So if you're struggling with food or alcohol or any really addiction, if it's possible, so sometimes this isn't always possible. Sometimes it's not possible to get away from the environment or the location or the people or whatnot. But if you can, that's another great way to kick the food addiction or the alcohol addiction, is to get away from the particular triggers. All right, like for me, what kind of triggers, say, drinking. If I'm in a bar, say it's a Wednesday, and I don't typically drink on Wednesdays, but if they start playing like EDM music, now that would be my trigger. So if I see a band setting up or a DJ setting up, it might be a good idea for me to say, hey, let's grab the check and bounce all out of here, okay? Because I know that music will be the trigger. So if I could separate myself and get out of there before that trigger happens. So a lot of this is just self-awareness of ourselves and finding out what triggers these cues and starts the habit loop. So really important concept on there is avoiding the triggers altogether. And again, sometimes that won't be 100% possible, but many times it is. And here's the thing, and this is where you got to get real with yourself. Sometimes the triggers are people, friends. Sometimes the triggers are people that you're around, and you know what? Maybe you just shouldn't be around those people. You know, I know that like Eric and I, we're triggers for each other in good ways. For example, like if I get up early this morning, so she got up early this morning. We both had more of a productive day because one got up early, so she got up early. If I would have slept in till noon, she probably would have slept in till noon, thus making it a less productive day. So if you're with people, around people that are constantly, hey, let's go to the bar, hey, let's do the fooders say, let's go out to eat Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know, that might be a trigger that needs to be removed. Not to sound harsh. You know, location can be the same thing. If your work environment or your cafeteria time at lunch is by the same group of people that are ridiculing whatever it is that you're eating, maybe, you know what, maybe you sit somewhere else, you change your environment, you sit somewhere else in the cafeteria, or you do another lunchtime, or you fast through lunch, or whatnot. So important to understand that sometimes avoiding the triggers altogether is what gets it done, as it did for those soldiers that were coming back from Vietnam. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Please post in the comments if you have any questions. Keep the dialogue going. If you are struggling with anything, hey, what are my cues? Or, you know, maybe you don't know your cues yet. Maybe you don't know your triggers. Maybe that's something that we can help coach you through. So have an amazing rest of your day. Rock